Ari, it's my pleasure and privilege to have you today again.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Listen, it's a holiday season coming, so what do you want to? Any ideas what we should discuss today?
During the holiday season, usually people visit too many restaurants, and including myself. So, but not because I like to eat out all the time, but because I'm invited to so many community events. Most of these events are in restaurants, and unfortunately, after the season is over, I feel that I'm getting a little bit weight. So I believe that would be the good topic to talk about.
Listen, you're not alone, and I have heard a lot of complaints, and some people who are sick or who want to lose his or her weight, they're complaining about that and saying that how can I offend people if I don't eat it, that if I go and I'm invited to their celebration or something like that. Listen, that's a sensitive topic, and probably there is no clear-cut answer.
Well, maybe eat, but in moderation.
The thing is that I have attended a lot of celebrations or a lot of events, and personally, I do not remember any time when I did have a real issue with to eat or not, and I have to stick to my diet or not. Because usually when you go for some kind of celebration, you have always a choice. It's not like one dish you have to eat. At least I don't remember any event when you were committed to eat something, one thing.
No, a lot of meals and a lot of options, but it's not like they brought you some food and then this food stays forever till midnight. No. So this is first choice. Then in about 30, 40 minutes new options. Then after 1 hour new options. And then of course by then is a dessert and fruits. And so and it's a whole ritual, I would say several hours of food.
Food. Yeah, I know.
The only thing I can do is to dance between, so to move a little bit.
Well, I don't think it will work.
Otherwise, I don't know what to do.
No. In my understanding, let's go back to the basics, how it happens that we gain weight, because it shouldn't have happened, and of course it's us who create the problem, and in my understanding, the problem is very simple. First of all, people it's not always clear what leads to gaining weight. I
would quote my own mother, who had a very good, at least she was in shape all her life, she was never overweight, and she always claimed at least that people find all possible excuses, but the simple answer is you close your mouth and that's the only option how to lose weight. I mean eat much less, and that's all, and eat proportionally several times a day, but a little bit, and that's all.
Well,
that was her.
I can't argue with this. But the question is that how not to transform our life into torture, because if you eat and you know that you can't eat, and it's going to be a constant thinking about what you should eat, should not eat. I think that my job actually to find a way for easy weight loss or easy maintaining weight.
Proper balance.
You can make it hard and you can make it easy. So why should we pick up the hard way? Probably not. And
diet is always difficult, tough. Always.
Listen, let me put it this way. Once again, in order to make it easy, first of all, we need to know how to make our appetite, make it less and less. Because if we make our appetite be higher, the increase our appetite is not going to help. It will transform our life into torture. So in order to fix this, wouldn't you agree that if our appetite goes down, it will help?
Of course.
So the question is how to do that.
Hopefully in a good way, because the bad way is when people are sick, they're losing appetite.
No, that's not what we are talking about. Healthy people who have enough sleep time, enough rest, who are not overworked. No, I'm talking about supposedly we go for holidays. Your family, my family, whatever. Just we go for holidays, right? And we don't want to lose weight. Okay, so what is the what is the way to suppress our appetite? Because if we don't, we are going to run into trouble. Any ideas how we can do that?
I don't know, to drink water more before you go into event, to eat more times, like not 3 times a day, but like 5 times a day, but less.
How would it help?
Then like you're not hungry, you do not feel hunger, you're always, I'm okay, you know.
Okay, unfortunately,
Does it work?
with all due respect, I cannot agree with this.
Okay.
And here is why. Because supposedly I just forget about all my principles and I decided to eat the candy, right? It's a nice candy, it's a chocolate candy with liquor in it. Well, that's what I love. Okay, so I decided to eat it. Okay, so
Okay.
what happens is, I think that, in order to keep my weight down, I would eat this candy every hour. So what's it? It's just a candy. It's a small like this.
Every hour.
Yeah, but it will suppress our appetite.
No.
Come on. Just suppose.
That's
Suppose.
exaggeration.
I'm just to try to make a point. Okay. So what happens in this situation is this: as soon as I put this nice candy in my mouth, sugar, which is simple sugar, is sweet, right? It immediately is going to be absorbed in my system. The thing is that obviously there is no liquor candy in Mother Nature, so our body is not supposed to digest it. So what happens is, because the sugar is simple, instead of slowly being digested like starch, it's going to rapidly go in our system, and sugar in our blood goes up very fast.
True.
That's not supposed to happen, but that's what happens if you take this candy. You eat this candy.
That's why I don't eat such candy.
What happens is, I was just trying to make a point.
Yes.
What happens is the sugar goes up very fast, so our body senses it. Something is very wrong here. So it produces insulin to bring sugar down, right? So insulin is the hormone to bring the sugar down. But because the rise of sugar was very fast and too high, usually insulin overshoots. And what happens is that as soon as insulin is produced more than we need, because our body is not designed to fix this, to deal with this. So what happens in this case, too much insulin brings our sugar down, too much. And you know what happens if sugar goes down?
You want more
We
sugar?
want to eat. Yeah, we want to eat. So we eat one candy, sugar goes down, and another candy in front of us. So what we do, we try to find an excuse how to get another candy, because our sugar is
Always
down.
excuse after excuse
Yeah,
after excuse.
and that's what happens. That, in my understanding, that's what happens if we eat of meals too frequently, provided, of course, it's too much carbohydrates in it. But let me ask you this: why don't we just use another approach? Why don't we try to suppress appetite by any ideas what we can do?
I'm not a doctor, you are, so
No, but
I don't know how to
just,
suppress appetite.
Well, but don't you think that eating foods that suppress appetite would help?
There is a food that is suppress
Of
appetite.
course, there's some food. I just gave you an example. Carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, they increase appetite. So don't you think there are some foods that suppress appetite?
I don't know, salads? Vegetables? I don't know.
No.
Then I don't know. I don't know.
To your surprise, the most effective way to suppress appetite is to eat the foods that are not usually recommended.
Like,
Fats.
what?
Fats are the most potent food appetite suppressants.
Big surprise.
Well, that's why you're here, right? And let me give you an example. I had a patient who was overweight, she had diabetes, high blood pressure, etc., etc. So I told her that she needed to bring her weight down, and she could do it. And I said that, why don't we do it very simple? 2 slices of bacon every morning. Well, she said, Doc, I go to synagogue every day, I just can't do that. And I said, why don't you talk to a priest or rabbi and, ask his opinion about that. So she took my advice very seriously. She went to rabbi and said, the doctor is telling me to eat bacon because I need to lose my weight. And guess what the rabbi said? If doctor tells you to eat bacon, so you should eat bacon.
Okay.
Yeah. And she started eating bacon even though she was not supposed to do that. And guess what? Slowly, she started losing her weight. Wow. No, that's very simple. If you eat foods that increase appetite, what do you think will happen? Obviously, that weight gain. So if you eat foods that decrease your appetite, then you're going to lose your weight.
So your solution is bacon?
My solution is to get rid of carbohydrates.
So sweet stuff is terrible.
I just had this patient, the patient.
I love sweet stuff, desserts, etc. I'm sorry. I know.
Listen,
Sounds terrible.
everybody loves it, but it doesn't mean that you have to eat it every day.
That's true.
It doesn't make any sense. And obviously that I eat desserts, once a month, sure. But this size, okay, and I love desserts, I make it myself, but it doesn't mean that you eat it every single day. That's what I'm talking about. But I think that desserts are not that dangerous as you might think. Because, usually everybody realizes the problem and try to avoid that. In my understanding, the much more serious problem is that what we consider healthy food, or the food, not healthy, but at least this is not dangerous. But it's still carbohydrates, which is almost dessert. It's a little bit better, but not that much. Like starch that contains starch, like bread, potato, rice.
They're all bad? They're all bad?
Well, what do you think?
No, but I know whole nations eating rice all the time, like Japan, China, for example, Uzbekistan. I believe rice is a national food over there.
That doesn't mean.
Are you saying everybody's unhealthy?
I don't think that it's even if everybody.
Or Belarus, where potatoes are national food, for example.
No, I know that, but doesn't mean that we have to do that, because what we want to do is to get better than most of the people, because otherwise why we are here. If you want to stick with what is the average diet, so that's not what we are doing here. We want to be above average, right?
So you're saying no rice, no bread, no potato, correct?
Whatever you need to cook should be gone. Listen, I eat potatoes, not the whole potatoes, but at least I do. Supposedly I just use some potato stuff in order to make some foods, but it's tiny amount, because as soon as we we get carbohydrates, we are run into a problem. And let me give you another example. Fat-free foods. That's, I think, the biggest problem. Because as soon as what they say is that food, fat is bad because it's too many calories in it. Yes, it is true that the calories, is a lot of calories, but what we achieve is to suppress appetite. So if we eat the same food without fat, if there's no fat, what will just pump up? It's carbohydrates. And that's where the problem starts.
So you're against fat-free products?
Of course, that changes the whole balance. That's the problem.
What about organic food? That's fine, it's so popular right now.
I am not fan of organic food, and the reason for that is because basically what they're saying is if you have a label organic, it doesn't mean that it's 100% organic. There have, I think, 80 or 90% has been, but the rest you still have. So it still can have some bad stuff in it. But organic foods are obviously it's better than regular ones. But it's still not a problem.
Not a panacea.
Not a panacea. No, it's not. It's not. If we eat organic rice or organic candies, will it help? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Yes, it does help. No, let me give you an example. Supposedly organic milk, a real one. Okay, and the advantage of that is that milk sometimes contains a lot of stuff which it's not supposed to have. And here is why. Because in Mother Nature, a cow should not produce milk all the time. Cow should get milk only when she has a calf, right?
Yes.
There is no baby should not be milk. So if a cow produces milk around the year, so they're doing something
Wrong.
to make her make
force.
yeah, to force her to produce. And this stuff is called posilac actually. It's a chemical, it's a hormonal compound. It's very close to growth hormone, and which is posilac. Never heard about it. That's what they inject in cows.
Never heard.
Never heard posilac. Yeah, it's what they do. Otherwise, why would a cow produce milk around the year?
It's true. Never thought about it.
No, that doesn't make any sense unless the cow is injected with something that makes her to produce that stuff. And
Because like is very unhealthy.
well, what do you think? And basically, why a lot of people suggest that who has supposedly acne problem, get rid of milk and carbs. And the reason for this is because milk contains a lot of hormones which are not supposed to have. It's growth hormone-like hormones and progesterone-like stuff. That's the main problem with milk.
But it's not just milk, it's all dairy products.
Of course.
Everything, like you're
Of
saying
course,
cottage
everything.
cheese, you're saying sour cream, you're talking about yogurt, etc., correct?
I don't know about yogurt, because yogurt is fermented.
Cheese?
Cheese is fermented too. I don't have any knowledge about that. I cannot say yes, I cannot say
What
no.
about cottage cheese? That's
Same thing.
dairy product.
That's I cannot tell you that. But milk itself, and it's kind of very dangerous. And another thing is that why milk is dangerous is because the main protein in milk is called casein. I don't know if you heard about that or
Not
not.
very hard.
Casein. But do you know what happens to this protein when it comes into our stomach? It is transformed in the compound that's called casomorphin.
Sounds scary.
You know what morphine is?
Yes.
That's
Drug,
why we love
drug.
yeah, that's why
It's
we
like
love milk
narcotics,
so
you know.
much. That's why we love milk so much.
So when you drink milk, you want more milk.
Yeah, that's it. You know, that's why it was I forgot which company has its motto. Got milk? Which one?
Yeah.
I just forgot for a while, but that they were very criticized.
Horizon or something.
Yeah, just because they are criticized for that because they knew that milk is not healthy. And think it this way: we are supposed to drink milk until age 1, right? Till my mom gives you milk. Other than that, we can't do that. It's not only because the hormones or casomorphin or anything like that.
But milk is all over the places in every store. Plenty of milk.
Well, alcohol is over the places too. Cigarettes are over the places too.
But everybody knows that everybody knows that cigarettes and alcohol are not healthy. Everybody knows it. Even people who smoke and drink.
So,
But I don't think everybody knows that milk is unhealthy. I don't think so.
oh, that's in my understanding. Another problem is this: milk contains carbohydrates. It's called lactose.
I've heard about lactose, obviously.
lactose. And lactose, we have an enzyme lactase which is supposed to digest it until age 1. After that, it slowly disappears from our body. So what happens is that as soon as we drink milk that contains lactose, it's not going to be digested. And this lactose, which is carbohydrate,
If it's not digested, what's going?
well, it's a perfect stuff for bad bacteria in our gut. It's like, supplying, why don't you, if you have an enemy, why don't you help your enemy to prosper? That's the same thing. If you have an enemy, would you make everything possible step to for your help, for your enemy to prosper and gain more strength so it can hit you?
So I'm getting this on no milk. Dr. Kalitenko is saying no milk after 1 year old. So our viewers are not 1 year old, so obviously not yet.
Yeah, listen, nobody's perfect. I drink milk products too, but I do it in moderation, just very tiny amount. And I prefer, no, actually milk I don't.
With coffee.
With coffee I use cream, okay, and coffee is kind of rare. Coffee I drink once a month, once a week, something like that. I don't do that. The only excuse you can, in my understanding, I drink milk is when I drink it with black tea. And here is why. Because black tea it's a very big problem because it prevents our body to absorb a lot of nutrients. And so if you drink a cup of black tea, for 30% of iron or other stuff, it's gone. Because you can't just absorb it.
I like black tea, so now you're saying, what should I drink, green tea? Green tea?
Hold on. You like black tea?
English breakfast, like Lipton?
No, you do or you don't?
I like.
So you brew it yourself, right?
No.
Who brews it for you?
I'm not brewing anything, I'm putting...
No, whatever it is, but it's brewing process, right?
Yes, okay.
So how do you do that? You put it in a mug and just put some...
No, just boiled water and...
Good.
Put...
Okay, but did you notice that on your mug there is a black stuff after you do it once again and again and again?
Yeah.
Did you notice it?
No, yellow, yes.
Black, right?
Yes.
So you need to clean your mug because of the black stuff from the black tea, right?
Correct.
So the same thing happens to your stomach. Didn't that occur to you? So your stomach is no better than the mug. So if this black stuff just adheres to the mug, the same thing as your stomach.
Now you scared me even more. Okay.
So the same
So
black
you're saying I have to drink only green tea?
Hold on. The same black stuff, it spoils your stomach and your gut.
But
What's the
again,
difference?
all over every diner in America, every possible cafe or anything like this, everybody offers saying black tea, green tea, and like English breakfast is like Lipton is like American tradition. I don't know. It's like everybody does it.
No, listen, no comments. I'm not talking about traditions. I'm talking about health.
Yes.
That's a different topic.
So you're saying it's all over the place, is people
Doesn't
killing
matter.
themselves?
Of course. No, look. Why your stomach is better than your mug? Doesn't make any sense. If that black stuff gets on your mug, the same thing happens to your stomach and your gut.
Yesterday I drank black tea. Okay.
That's the common sense. And the only
I have to start drinking just simple water.
Basically, it's not that simple because Englishmen, they a long time ago they invented to fix this issue. Drink tea with milk. That would prevent this black stuff to oxidate, to fix to the.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's why they're always asking, do you want a sugared milk or you don't want?
Yeah, the milk is the easiest way to fix this issue, and that's what they do. Englishmen, that they usually drink tea with milk, and milk fixes this issue. So I think one of the excuses you can drink milk if you want to take a cup of green tea or black tea.
Green tea is okay.
Well, in my understanding it's better, but that's what they do. You brew your tea with hot water, like a lot of Indian people, they brew tea with, or Englishmen, they brew tea with hot milk, not water. So that fixes the problem. That fixes the problem. That makes it much more.
But we distracted from the main issue of losing weight. So what does it all have to do? We talk about milk. So drinking milk is not just unhealthy, it also increase your weight.
I don't know about increasing your weight, but as soon as you put your digestive system into out of balance, of course, it's not probably a good idea. But in order to fix your weight, there's something very easy stuff. So just try to stick to the foods that suppress your appetite. I forgot what was a movie that actually the guy, I think the journalist, he said he went to McDonald's and ate McDonald's diet in order to lose his weight. I forgot but the name of the movie, but the idea is very simple. Yes, if you get rid of if you get rid of carbohydrates and eat fatty food, you will eventually lose your weight.
Lose your weight?
Yeah, lose your weight, because fat
Not
is the
gain.
most, no, because fat is the most potent appetite suppressant. That's why.
Very surprising.
That's why. Calories, it's actually, it doesn't matter if you don't have any appetite, how are you going to gain weight, gain calories? You're not going to do that if you don't want to eat.
I want you to give me a few examples because you have experience. You said the woman started to eat bacon, you recommended.
That's my favorite stuff.
And did she lose weight?
That's my food. That's my favorite idea how to lose weight. Just 2 slices of bacon every morning, and no carbs. That's it.
Did she lose weight?
She did. She did. Not that much as I wanted her to, because finally she couldn't overcome her desire to eat sweets, and she forgot about bacon, and she went back. But the idea, it does work, and as per my knowledge, a lot of dietitians, they use the same idea: fatty foods.
I usually hear a completely different approach, like vegetables, exercise, water. What else?
So water is not a bad idea. Water is not a bad idea. Actually, it helped me a lot, because suppose yesterday and today I'm on kind of water diet. So basically, instead of eating food, there is no food for me today. I mean, real food. What I'm going to eat is vegetables with some kind of aromatic broth, and that's it.
That's what I'm talking about, like, but not fat food. What you're saying, never heard.
No, I'm telling you, that's the easiest way to lose weight, is to eat the food that suppresses it. So basically, fats, something bulky. Why bulky? Because
Like, give me example.
like what I do, I take a lot of, it's a big bowl with vegetables and broth in it. So as soon as I eat it, my stomach becomes over distended. That helps a lot too.
Okay.
So the main idea is this: water definitely helps. I mean, in moderation. You remember we talked about
Yes.
this? Yes. So
Everything should be in
yeah.
moderation.
I think it does help. It does help.
What about exercise?
Well, exercise not that much. Exercise is what is the problem with exercise? Because the calorie expenditure is very small. It's very small, and basically what you can do is to get more appetite because of the very simple thing, because you got exercise. That's it, and that might create a problem. So that's what the main idea is. Very simple. Why don't you stick to very simple ideas? What we ate, I mean, human beings, before old modern stuff came. Did we drink coffee? No. Did we take sugar? No, because there was no sugar. Did we drink a lot of water? Yes, we did.
A lot of meat.
Meats, Yes, meats grass-fed. You remember we talked about grass-fed beef. What's the
Fish,
difference?
people.
Fish, grass-fed.
But they ate the raw fish, not like cooked fish, but still.
Well, I prefer raw fish all the time.
I cannot even imagine.
Why not? Go to any sushi restaurant and you will see a lot of.
Sushi is different.
Why is it different?
Because it's sushi.
Oh, so what's the
But
difference?
it's not like
So,
fish, raw fish.
I don't follow you. Why not?
No, first of all, sushi restaurant, it's a little bit, like it's rice that you do not recommend, by the way, etc. But like, not like plate of raw fish.
No, but if you go to a good restaurant, they will give you sashimi, which is raw fish. They give you a piece of raw fish. That's it.
And also I recall our conversations, what's going on in the ocean. Also, sometimes it's not so. It could be risky too.
What do you mean by that?
It could have mercurium and other
Mer-
elements in fish. If it's
So
raw
what what you can do is to, obviously I'm not recommending tuna or something like that, but you can eat sardines, eat something that the smaller the size of the fish, the safer it is.
Question. Often on TV I see commercials for some kind of magic pills. People take these pills and they lose weight. Is it possible?
Well, everything is possible, but what the price are you going to pay for this? Because most of appetite suppressants, they are kind of dangerous because it's amphetamine type, so it produces a lot of adrenaline. Yes, it does work.
So you do not recommend when your patients are coming, you do not say, I prescribe you this pill or
No,
that pill. No?
I am against this. I'm against this, and that's what I think can hurt really badly. And the reason for this is because as soon as somebody gets too much adrenaline, the consequences could be very bad. And why don't we do it simple? Why do we need pills? Why do we need some kind of weird stuff? Why don't we make it simple, stupid? Couple of slices of bacon every morning. What's the problem?
I'm surprised, to be honest. But okay.
What is the problem? Get rid of carbs. Get rid of bad stuff. Get rid of fat-free products.
Also, we mentioned holiday season. I know that you're like staunch opponent of any kind of alcohol.
Yeah.
But we're in the holiday season, so it also helps to gain weight when a person drinks alcohol in moderation, I would say.
Well, I can't
I've heard a lot
answer
of
your
sugar
question because I am against alcohol. So alcohol is basically the same thing as carbohydrates. I don't think that it's healthy. I don't think it suppresses appetite. I don't think it's a good idea to drink it.
But there is a legend, supposedly, that like people like Armenians in the high mountains, because they drink very natural wine, they live like more than 100 years. Is it true or not true?
Well,
some wines are very, very healthy.
Well, I don't know the answer. In my understanding, there is no such thing like a safe dose of poison. And of course, some people live 100 years, but is it because of the wine or something else? I don't know.
Obviously fresh air and also they're exercising because they're doing some physical work over there, but still like they drink wine. Obviously.
Well, let me ask you this. Supposedly there is a shepherd who lives in Armenia in the high mountains, wherever it is. Where is he getting wine all the time?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I have no idea either. If he is a shepherd and he is always just foraging, how did he get wine?
That's the legend. I don't know.
No, I don't know either. So I
Supposedly
think it's more a legend or something to promote wine, selling wine, than the real stuff. Because I cannot imagine a shepherd that takes wine all the time with him and travels many miles a day with wine.
Okay, so it's probably. So you're saying it's not true? It's just a legend.
Well, I'm not saying that it's not true. What I'm saying, it's hard to imagine, at least for me. Maybe they have some kind of secret, they stash wine somewhere and go from one reservoir of wine to another one. Who
I
knows?
constantly hear that like some good wine in moderation is like healthy and prolong your life. That's what I hear all the time. I'm not saying that I recommend it, but that's what I hear.
Let me tell you something. That you have probably
Specifically about
heard
wine.
about French paradox. They drink wine and they eat a lot of bread, and their heart problems are much less in the United States. Well, there's a very simple explanation for this. The level of diagnostic abilities in France is lower than the United States. So you just don't, the heart disease goes undiagnosed, that's it. It's not necessarily wine, no. Because you can explain anything you want, if I want
Yeah, like champagne, wine, cognac, it's all France, okay.
So if we don't diagnose heart disease, you can do anything, That's the way it is. That's the explanation of French paradox. They just don't diagnose it. That's it.
So I got it about bacon. I got it about
So let's
raw
make
foods.
let's make it simple. Let's make it simple, stupid. Get rid of unhealthy foods. Try to eat what our ancestors did, and that's it.
No alcohol.
Your body will do the rest. Our body is smarter than we are. Much smarter. Just
I
don't.
learned a lot today, even about black tea.
Yeah, so basically I think we got a lot of good ideas what we can do in our holidays. Listen, there's plenty
After holidays, you need to come to Dr. Kalitenko and he will tell you what did you do wrong.
plenty of other foods that you can eat. Come on. Just proteins, just shish kebab, whatever you like. I don't know what you like, steaks. It's a lot of good stuff. Why do you need to stick to dessert? You don't need to stick to rice. You don't need to stick to potato. Why don't you? There's a lot of other stuff.
How can you say to our viewers, no potato, no rice, it's like
That's what I do.
no bread,
I'm bread free for many years. I'm gluten free for many years.
I'm from Belarus. How could you tell me no potato, for example? I don't know. It's
Why
like
don't you try and see? Okay, so why don't you get a good steak and see if you have a good steak?
I'm not a big fan of steaks. No,
Why not?
I don't know. I don't like it at all.
You don't like steaks?
Yeah, lula kebab is fine. Fish is fine. Vegetables, fruits, of course. But not steak, definitely not steak. And of course I like potatoes. But now, after talking to you, I'm started to reconsider.
No, look, first of all, to have a good steak, it's a challenge. And the reason why you don't like steak is probably because it's hard to get a good one. No, first of all, it's expensive. If you want a good steak, it's a very expensive stuff. Second thing is that it's very difficult to make a good steak. You need to be really experienced in this.
No, but lula kebab is everywhere. Kebab everywhere.
Yeah, because it's easier to make. The problem with lula kebab, the shish kebab, is that the size of the meat is small, so you get undercooked meat much less than when you have a steak. If you have a good steak, the center of the meat, at least most of the meat, is undercooked. And that's why when we have a good steak. When it's overcooked, forget it. It's not what we're talking about here.
Okay, we're ready for holiday season now.
So
We know what
just
to eat, what not to eat,
yeah.
but the most important probably is still moderation. Common sense.
What I think, just a common sense. Just keep it in mind that if you wanna lose your weight, don't eat foods that promote your appetite.
Thank you.
That's pretty much it. Okay, so I wish everybody and you good holiday season and good luck, and just
Happy and healthy New Year to all of you, and of course to you, doctor. And thank you for your work on behalf of our patients,
And thank you very much for coming here. Happy holidays.